Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Ask Dr. Zaino Live. We're so glad that you're on. Thank you for being on live. And then later on, if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. We appreciate that too. I know a lot of you do watch the replay even though you're on live just to get it around the second time. I do that myself sometimes. So if you're watching on our page, chirothoughtleaders.com/ask-dr-zaino, you'll see right below the video is some social media buttons. It says follow us on social media. If you haven't clicked every one of those buttons, I want you to do that right now. Make sure that your colleagues know where you are, that you know we're on live right now, and tell everybody about that. Right below those social media buttons, you'll see the live chat. We've already got a couple questions in there, but I want everybody else who is on to start asking some questions, and we'll go through those live with Dr. Zaino in just 1 second. Below that, below the live chat roll, you're actually going to see an image down there where it says register for the cash flow banking webinar. It says next Thursday. I apologize for that. It's a typo. It's actually tomorrow. Okay, so I want you to go ahead, click on that green button that says claim my spot now. That's going to be Garrett Gunderson. He's going to be live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. You're not going to want to miss that. He's going to show you how to be your own bank, how to begin without even having to increase your income. With the income you're doing right now, is how to create a cash flow, a bank that cash flows your money every month. So just go ahead and click that green button. It should pop up in a new window. You're not going to be taken off anywhere. Got that set right. And you'll be able to enter your name and email and sign up for that webinar. All right, so let's introduce the man of the hour. Dr. Zaino, how are you, man?
Hey, what's up, Dr. Taylor? Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming on and watching to Ask Dr. Z. Where our mission is to be able to help you in any way, shape, or form from the experiences, the trials, errors, and the victories we went through, and also accessing the thought leaders. You know, we've been around to be able to help you save time, money, and a whole lot of crap. So,
Yeah.
you know, we'll answer any question on anything. It doesn't have to just be chiropractic related. We'll do the best we can and give you the best we got. So what do we got?
All right, so first question. Since you're not a provider for Medicare, do you still have to adhere to their guidelines for the amount you charge? I've heard conflicting reports on this.
Well, we're in Texas, so we hired Kathy, who does all the Medicare websites, not the Medicare training for the board and everything like that. You know, you could go online and get your Medicare credits and stuff like that. And she talked with my office manager, and we're doing everything exactly the way she said we're able to do it. You know, they sign an ABN form, and I'm sure there's some type of a discounted rate to match those rates of Medicare. But, you know, we follow everything she tells us to do. And the reason why you say, well, that's kind of vague, Dr. Zaino, it's because I don't concern myself with that. I have an office manager that I say, listen, I want you to find out exactly how it's done. Go to the best person who does it. And we went to someone who teaches Medicare. We had a couple people at the Zaino experience say, well, this guy says you can't do this and you can't see people over 65 years of age if you're going to do this and that. But it just, you know, it all depends on your state. As far as Texas is concerned, you know, we went to Kathy, and she looked over all our forms, all our papers. We posted a "We do not accept Medicare" sign, so people know coming in we do not accept Medicare, and we go from there.
Awesome.
So,
that's great. That's actually a good idea. Because for me as a doctor, when I think about having to go research and find out what I have to do, that's so overwhelming. But you know, give that task to one of your staff members, and maybe even hook them up with Kathy, and then say, look, that's your job. Figure out what we need to do there, and then I can focus on what I need to do and my adjustments, you know?
there you go.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm really enjoying and learning so much through Chiro Thought Leaders. Thank you. I do have a question about your dinner/outside talk. You mentioned that it's basically the first part of your doctor's report. Where do you stop and how do you close it? Thanks again for being awesome.
Yeah, so I stop it right after I explain the entire nervous system. If you saw my doctor's report, I can't, you know, due to the respect and time of everybody else that's watching, I can't do my whole entire dinner talk for you now because we got to get to other questions. And then, you know, at the end of the nervous system is when right before I would personally go over x-rays, that's where I kind of stop the information at that point. And then I go right into the close. And the close is I'm asking them what to do. So here's the next thing we do. And I explain to them what happens on day one in the masterpiece report of findings. I show them the schedule sheet that I have for them. And you know what? It's a good question, and we do go step by step, everything in the D squared. And if you have not gotten the dynamic dinner, you could look below, or Dr. Tabor could give you that link to that site. And there it is. That's the entire program that answers that question 100%. And, so a lot of times, I am going to lead you to the areas that we have put hours and lots of time and effort into, and made a product that is literally a turnkey, guaranteed, because it does have a guarantee on it, turnkey guaranteed system that has been used by hundreds of doctors, maybe thousands, in over 22 countries in this planet. And it's successful no matter what continent they're on, no matter what economy is going on. We have nailed it down. So, I can't justify and give you the greatest answer you want in 1 minute, but that program has everything you need. So purchase that.
Yep, awesome. Well, I put the link down there below the video, so I just posted that. If you look in the chat roll, you'll see where it says www.dynamicdinner.com, and just go there and enter your name and email. Even the training videos, even if all you do is watch it's like 3 hours complete training on how to do a dynamic dinner, and even if you just watch that, trust me, you're going to grow with leaps and bounds. You could actually probably implement it even after those videos.
Right, absolutely.
It's awesome. All right, so we offer 1 year prepay only for the first year of corrective care. However, we have old patients that pay monthly and send in their friends. Some of the new referrals that haven't signed up mention that their friends didn't have to prepay. Do you have any suggestions?
This is what you say. We don't do like that. We say, well, we don't do that anymore. This is the way we do it. Right. You tell your patients who pay monthly, you need to get all your monthly patients on their next re-exam or everything. You tell them this is how we're doing it now. Because what's happening, you're causing a lot of stress in your office by trying to manage. See, this is why you feel you're busy. This is why you'll never reach a level, because you're going to feel you're busy doing something that you're putting mental energy towards something where, this is the way we do it now. Just think, when we went to cash, this is the way we do it now. We went to a lifetime membership. Here, it's lifetime. Well, I thought we could just do another year. No, it's lifetime. This is how we do it now. So you just make a decision. They actually did a study of 25,000 people who had very big failures in their life, in business and health. And one of the top of the reasons was inability to make a decision, inadequate decision making. So that means that in your office, it will fail or become very stressful because you just got to make a decision and say, oh, well, they refer people in. So they're still going to refer people in, because they refer people in because it's the right thing to do, not because you let them pay monthly. Remember, you're rooting it to they're paying monthly. Make a decision. Say, hey, everybody, this is what we're doing now. And that's the way you do it. So this is what it is. Well, they didn't have to do it. Well, we do things different now. We do it like this now. And and you say, what you got to say, it's a benefit to you. We're doing it this way because it's a more benefit for you. It saves, administration time and fees and all the other good stuff you say. And that's your decision. It's your office. So you have to make a decision. You're running your office according to the patients versus your vision. So you make a decision. Either people go back to paying monthly, or people go back to your 1 year thing. That's the way you do it, or any way you want to do it, but you have to make a decision and make it the one thing. So you're not making these different things for everybody, because people will get pissed off because of that reason. They'll be like, well, hey, he paid monthly, I'm paying year. So they'll lose trust versus saying, this is what we do now.
Right. Yeah. Completely agree.
Next question.
He says, we just started offering a monthly option for lifetime maintenance thanks to you, ! I still only want to offer prepay for the first year though. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that works. So all patients, so now all those people, those monthly people, their next re-exam, you put them on lifetime.
Right.
So you get all those monthly people on lifetime.
Yep.
That's it. And then all the new ones coming in 1 year, your first year.
So this is a recurring question, it seems, but what is the most efficient way to memorize our longer presentations, dynamic dinner, masterpiece report, etc.? And I think a good way to answer this too would be to go to our YouTube channel and look for the episode that we did with Roberto Monaco. Mm-hmm. And I think he actually may have answered a question just like that. Yeah. But he talked a lot about, you know, how to prepare. You know, for myself personally, what I did, Dr. Zaino, and so I'll admit, when we first started doing the dynamic dinner, I still stuck to my old dinner talk, you know, because I thought I was just set in my ways. I've been doing the dinner for years. And then finally, I wasn't happy with the results. I said, you know what? No, I'm going to do the dynamic dinner. I'm going to sit here. I went through, watched every word that you said, and I wrote down every bullet point. You know, so it wasn't like I was going to try to memorize your talk word for word, but I wanted those bullet points that you said. Then I went back and I took where your stories were, and I knew that I had a few stories that I could put in, and that having bullet points for me personally, I can remember those. You know, so when I'm going through my presentation, in my mind, I memorized those bullet points, and it just takes me in from one story to the next by doing that. I don't know if that works like that for you.
No, it's 100%. Yeah, bullet points are great because, you know, I love bullet points because I get to move with the crowd, so I could take things in a different direction. I think about like bumper bowling. You know, when you bowl the bumpers, so the bowling ball does this. So my bullet points keep me on the aisle, but I could change it up because every patient that comes, you know, we had this guy, a patient of mine, Bruce, last dinner. He's like, you know what? He's like, every single time I come here, he's like, you know, you're getting the same message across, but man, you just got some different stuff in there. Like he feels that it's different every time, but we get the same because I stick to the bullet points because I own them. And when you own the bullet points, you can go here to here. And it's okay that you miss a bullet point here or there. That's why you should videotape it so you can see how you do. Oh, I missed that. That's great. So next time you add it in. I sit in my car and I look over the bullet points before I go in.
Me too.
But the biggest thing is this. You got to practice.
Yeah.
You got to be persistent and you got to practice. If you do not contain those two, you'll never reach, number one, you'll never reach the level that you could. And then the problem with if you don't practice and you're not persistent, then after a while, you're going to start blaming circumstances and people and the dinner. And you practice. I still practice. Because I'm a professional. That's what I do. I practice. Good.
And I'll add this in too, to finish my story, is that, my results got a lot better once I started doing that, you know, the right dinner. Now, I mean, Monday night, this Monday, I had 20-something people, which is a pretty decent full house for me. And we signed up 8 new patients. And you know what? It was beautiful. So,
what do you charge, Tabor?
For the exam?
Yeah.
$47.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that paid for the dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Way to go. So I mean, just look at the return on investment that is.
Yeah. No, I know. It's ridiculous. And you know what I was telling a chiropractor this before, I think it was today actually, but that those patients are great. They're like getting referrals. They are like in office referrals. So like my percentage, if my average is about 50% for signing people up, it's going to be 80% of people who come in from the dinner. So you just can't beat that.
No, it's like you created a wonderful pre-qualified patient who walks in that door, and you everything is taken care of, pre-framed, and they're ready to rock. Almost your day one can ruin it by talking too much.
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, they're already ready. Just get them right to your masterpiece report and let's go. You know.
Well, you know, we were talking before we started this show, and I signed up a couple so I did my doctor's report last night. And the couple that came on Monday, they had already been to their day one, but they wanted to come to the dinner anyway, even though they were scheduled for the report, you know, on Tuesday night. So on Tuesday night, both of them signed up, complete prepaid for both of their care. And I mean, it was just like $4,000 for me. It was like a little bit over $4,000 check that, you know, was bam right there. And they were so pumped up from the dinner that I didn't even hardly have to do the report because they just wanted to go, you know?
And so look at that, Tabor. Also, that answers a question when people are like, well, I did the dinner, so for my report, they feel, well, I don't have to really, do I have to do the report again? Because they kind of heard it already. So basically, Tabor, this two couple that were pumped and paid in full because they valued the care.
Yeah.
They heard the message 3 times. Their day one, and they went to the dinner, and they went to his master report all in 2 days.
Right, exactly.
So they're 3 times, so they have value. So you never feel, well, they already heard it. No, like the thing is, they valued the care because they were extremely educated on the principle. That's why when someone hears if they say, listen, I'm going to go home and think about it, or every single day that goes over past that, they start to lose, oh, what did they say? They start to forget and they diminish intent, and then they lose value every single day. So these people had it 3 times. They were literally, they could answer his questions. They were ready, and they felt confident because they knew the questions, the answers to the questions, and they rocked it. And so they felt confident enough to say, listen, and their mind was already made up. It was just a formality at that point. And that's what we want to create. And that's why we want to be like laser focused to create that's the ultimate environment to where they say, I understand, I get it. Right? We had a 19-year-old last night take care of her care on her own, 19 years old. And you know why? It proves to, I'm sorry, I'm hitting things. It proves when that 19-year-old takes care of her health, it proves that, you know what? It's never about the money. If you really want it, even a 19-year-old is going to find, because she really wants, a 19-year-old is going to find it. So automatically, it's like there's no excuses. See, we allow excuses to kind of justify things, or, well, maybe, she doesn't have a job. I get it, because to make us feel better. But in reality, it comes down to a job, no job. They're spending that money somewhere else because they value other things more. And then it's kind of it's a horrible reality sometimes. Be like, wow, was it me? But you know what? It may not be you. It might be them and their value of health. But at least it should light fire under your tail to say, you know what? I'm going to make sure it's not me. So I'm going to do the best I possibly can by practicing and doing what I need to do, because I don't want to be the variable. If their health's not their priority, great. I mean, it sucks for them, but I want to make sure it's not because I sucked that they didn't value the care and said, you're not worth, my health's not worth this because you did a bad job. So that's where practicing comes into play again.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it makes a big difference. I mean, people who do it all the time, they know that they feel the difference from when they do it and don't practice, and then when they do it and they do practice. So,
like, what else are you doing? I want to know, like, what else you're doing? Like, we're not, in school, like, remember in school, we used to have to practice our setups, technique, and we used to, on orthopedic tests, I remember we used to, like, memorize the test. We used to memorize a physical diagnosis and look in the ear and spit out all this stuff. We used to practice things to perform at boards. So we did all this practicing in school for stuff that really doesn't matter, right? I mean, like, to pass a test, because you had stress, right? You're like, man, I got to pass this test. And I'm thinking now, it's like, maybe you had a bad association with preparing for things, but no, like, this is the pros. This is the big league. You're in practice. You're a practicing doctor, and it's like all you're practicing equals a commodity. It's like as you practice and you become better in every way, shape, or form, that is like what I think. Like, what else do you have to do? I mean, it's like what else are you doing that's taking, like, that's your job? Like, I guess if you had like 4 jobs, you could say, well, I was busy doing my other job. It's like, this is the only job you have. I mean, so what the hell, what are you doing? Like, like, you practice, like, this is my job. This is my one class I got to know. Right. It's my one subject I'm doing. For the next 20 years of my life. So, I mean, I think just look at it that way. Don't let because you did a better job in school practicing for boards. If you put the time you did cramming for boards into your practice, you wouldn't have a problem. You wouldn't be on this because you'd be busy seeing patients right now.
That's exactly right. Awesome. Well, let's go. They're stacking up here. So here's some questions. Dr. Z, do you only show patients their stress x-ray after they have to attend the SWS? What does that mean? Do you only show patients their stress x-rays after they've attended the SWS? I'm assuming he means the doctor's report.
Hold on. Maybe they meant DW. Maybe dinner with the doc. Maybe hit the.
I bet it is dinner with the doc.
Well, no, stress X-rays are shown after the master report findings. That's it. Yeah. So even though I might do other stress X-rays, that's just for us to know what rehab to give them. But so when they see their X-rays, that's when they see their stress X-rays. They see it all at one shot.
Right. All right in the ROF. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. Did a dinner using the dynamic dinner formula program Monday night. 21 new patients signed up.
Awesome.
Wow. Congrats, doc.
You beat me.
That beat the
Yeah,
heck out of me,
yeah.
dude.
Beat
That's
me.
awesome. Very
I'm
cool.
just kidding. Great job, man.
Yes,
He's
congrats.
excited and he rocked it.
I
That was
mean, how
awesome.
awesome is that? That's like practice changing right there. 21 new patients. Like people don't get
In
21 new
in
patients.
1 hour, he did a month of work
Yeah, exactly. Like you're
or
set.
more. Yeah, that is awesome.
That is
And just think
phenomenal.
of the referrals from those people and then spouses and the flip. So that could be like 40 or 30 if they have kids at home.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice work. And thank you for sharing, Doc. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, and it's
It's
plus.
awesome. All right. And then the same doc has a question. How often do you guys practice your dinner talk per month? Um,
What do you mean, like me personally?
yeah.
Oh, I just, well, I always feel a low level of anxiety.
Yeah.
So I had a dinner Monday night. So, Sunday and Monday I look it over. So I have it
Yeah.
here. So by the time, so even though I know it, even though I do, I mean, I freaking made the products.
Yeah.
But it's like, even though I do, I look over it, just kind of like you study before a test. I just kind of breeze over it. I have a copy of my card to just breathe, and then my copy is bullet points. I just
Right.
kind of breeze over it, and I don't do it because I'm forgetting something. I do it because when I breeze over it, when you read something, and Tabor, I want to talk to you this too, and I'll do it out loud.
Sure.
Like, I was thinking about listening to audiobooks, right? Because you could listen to audiobooks, but I realized that I was listening to Brian Tracy and, Napoleon Hill, that when you read something, in order to read something, it takes all your focus. You know what I mean? Like even this right now, like all these things are going on. I can see my son in there. But when you have to read something, it takes all of your focus to read that. And
Right.
that's why they've seen like reading is better than even audio at times because it takes all of your focus.
Yep.
And so I just think when I look at the bullet points, it causes me just to focus on my, because it's at the end of the day, the dinner, right? So you worked, you did this, you did all these other things. So it just kind of narrows all my focus into what needs, like, right, the present time of this is the one thing that I need to do right now. And then,
Yep.
I just kind of go in there and do it. But when you know the bullet points, you could take a tangent here, you could go there. Like I sometimes my dinners go longer or shorter because, I have fun in them. I told my wife today it's the most fun thing I do because I have fun. So I like to take, I use stories that just happen, a story about my mom I threw in there. Just I like to have fun with it at that point because
Yep.
it is fun. And when I'm having fun, they're having fun.
Yep.
And just that contents alone,
Yep.
they're like, hey, listen, this is someone that is genuine, real, and that's how I keep it real is by throwing in current event things that affected me. So the study of 25,000 people that had major failures in their life, at the top of the list, it was lack of a decision. They all said there was a point that they lacked making a decision, and because of that procrastination, that caused failure in that area. So procrastination is the opposite of a decision.
Hmm.
And and then so I'm like, so I threw that in there, because it was something that made a lot of sense to me, and like, oh, that was really good. So I like to throw that stuff in there that because it's
Yep.
it makes the talk fun for me, and they
Yep.
feel it. But I'm not so I don't really talk much about that because first of all, you need to nail it down the way we have it. And
Yep.
then when you nail it down and you're rocking it, then you could you could start tweaking it a little bit and making it your own, but still hitting the same bullet points.
Well, what I found was helpful for me is I wrote out your beginning, your
Mhm.
opening intro word for word, and I study that every every either the night before or even the day of the dinner. I know that intro word for word because I feel like if I could get the intro off and I get on the roll, then I can just memorize the bullet points as I go. But I mean, I'm literally like, imagine living 70, 80, 90 years of quality health. I mean, you could probably hear me say it and you'd be like, hey, that guy is totally copying me. And then as I go through, I have those bullet points. The bullet points, they make me less nervous because I know if I'm gonna like mess up on a bulletproof, I know which one comes next. I could just skip to the next one. And I don't, that because that was scary for me that I'm just gonna like black out and not know what to say while I'm up there. But if I always know what bulletproof comes next, then I feel like I'm, it's like having a safety on right there.
Right.
So
Right on.
good questions. Very cool. So let's see. We got some comments on here, but no, we don't have any more questions there. But yeah, everybody's congratulating Dr. Emil for getting 21 new patients signed up at his dinner the other night. That's absolutely awesome.
Killer.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Well, also, I'll talk about the bullet points. A great thing about when you write down the bullet points is if I'm talking, I'm like, oh, I didn't do this one bit or frame, I could throw it in wherever, and no one knows. So like, it's like, oh, I didn't talk about that. So it just, the bullet point, it's like a bullet point to me is like a bit. So I do it, talk about that, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't talk about that one. I can insert it any which way. And it fits perfectly as long as I'm hitting it. So let's say, Tavy, you're halfway through and you're like, wow, I didn't talk about how you get a subluxation.
Right.
I talked about it, but not how.
Yeah.
So because some of you guys might be saying, well, how do I get subluxated? And boom, I throw that right, just in there. Okay, I covered that. So just the bullet points, you could intertwine them. I write them in a way that flows nice to my perception, but I mean, they could be interchanged, whatever.
Yep.
But as long as you hit them.
Yep, absolutely. I even, when you said you threw in a, something that you'd heard, a current event, and actually Monday night I talked about the astronaut who was in space, and actually he was in space for over a year and a half, and then when he got back down to Earth, they noticed he grew 2 inches. Well, a lot of that, a little of that might have been some rehydration of some discs, but most of that was he lost the spinal curves because there's no gravity to be able to keep that. And so hopefully he's able to reconstruct those spinal curves, because now that gravity's on him, he's going to get much worse wear and tear and breakdown in through his spine. That's why they're so important. So that was part of it. I added that in at the part where you say, the 3 parts of the nervous system, the brainstem, the spinal cord, and the nerve roots. So absolutely.
That's right.
All right. Let's see here. Let me refresh my screen because I hear some comments, but I'm not seeing them. So I apologize, guys. Well, while my screen is refreshing there, I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, Garrett Gunderson is going to be on live. He has a live webinar. It's called How to Build Lifelong Wealth with Cash Flow Banking. And you absolutely want to be on that webinar. At least register for it. You'll probably get the replay even if you can't make it tomorrow night at 8 p.m. You'll find that link by scrolling all the way down to the bottom of the page and clicking on that green button that says Claim My Spot Now. Okay, so we do have another question here. Here it is. Do you do more manual adjustment, a combination, drops, or instrument adjusting? Question mark. Great show, by the way. I never miss it. Thanks, Hector. Appreciate that.
Yeah, all of the docs and myself, we prefer, adjusting by hand only. And, we'll have an arthro stim and an activator on hand for just those special cases. Yeah. So, and then, I do have a drop table. So again, maybe to drop the pelvis, or that's probably it's the only time we drop is for a pelvis drop. Again, for those special cases. If not, we'll get them manually. Yeah, we do everything pretty much manual. Right. I could do everybody face down anyway. I could do a, P to A, thoracic if I need to, combination movement. I could hit Atlas face down. I could do it all and maybe drop. So, and then sometimes I sit people up and hit their Atlas that way. If I'm just feeling fatigued a little bit, sit up, boom, and hit that like a Gonstead cervical. Whatever you want. But, there's no, and it's finding the formula. Like you'll find someone, this one guy just doesn't really do well with the drops, or well, he definitely wouldn't do well with the side posture. He didn't do well with the drops, so we arthro stim the lower back and the sacral area, according to his listing. So.
Yeah, I actually want to get an arthro stim. I don't have one. We use an activator, for the people who maybe they're pretty fragile, or even kiddos. I use activator on kiddos quite a bit. But everybody, like you said, man, I think when you find your role, we try to adjust similar to each other, but there's some of us that really have even a bread and butter move that the other one doesn't have. You know what I mean? Oh
yeah, the other docs suggest they have their own unique, because they just think they're different shapes and sizes. Dr. Jacques is really tall. Ryan is taller than me. And athletic wise, they they could do things that I can't do, and vice versa. I'm shorter in stock here, maybe more powerful in certain moves. So we have to adjust according to our biomechanics too.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You got to be able to take care of yourself. That's important. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, I want to thank everyone for being on tonight. We really do appreciate it. And we're going to remind you with an email tomorrow when I send out this replay. But while you're here now, go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom, hit that green button, claim my spot now, and then that way you can get signed up for Garrett Gunderson's live webinar tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. Dr. Zaino, any closing remarks?
Actually, what Garrett and I are going to be talking about tomorrow was when I first started working with Garrett about 4 years ago. We started doing this, and this was always like the secret. No, I mean, like, this was like my little secret, working with Garrett, that it was kind of like,
nice.
And I could tell you 4 years later, it's been pretty amazing. So it's kind of like, what it's really like, it's kind of like what we do, here I'm getting the secret, from Garrett and some guys. It's top breaking stuff. And then 4 years later, it's a product for like a couple $100. I'm like, but It's really good. It's really, and it's very tough for me to explain. So if you say, hey, Dr. Zaino, what do you do with your money? It's like, Garrett explains it perfectly. My wife really handles it, but it's been extremely wonderful, for all the little things. And he'll go over more, but this will be kind of exactly how all my finances are set up this way. It's not really diversified. It's just exactly what he talks about is exactly to the penny, to the T of what he has me doing. We're working with him for 4 years, and it's been pretty fabulous. But there is discipline involved. So it'll be great. Watch it.
All the good things come from discipline, so that's awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the webinar. The link again is all the way down at the bottom of the page. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.